This happened just hours ago. The Chapitos, feared leaders of the cartel, seem invincible, but they are about to face their most devastating blow. The surrender of Cheyo Ántrax, one of their most loyal associates, becomes the spark for a betrayal that could ruin everything. Do you want to know more? Before we begin, give it a like and subscribe. It's free. Now, let's get started. In the turbulent world of drug trafficking, alliances shift quickly, and loyalty can turn into betrayal. Cheyo Ántrax, whose real name was Liceo Imperial Castro, and nephew of the kingpin Ismael El Mayo Zambada, was a prominent leader of the violent armed group Los Ántrax within the Sinaloa Cartel. This cartel, known for its brutality and global drug trafficking, suffered a significant blow with the recent death of Cheyo Ántrax in Culiacán. Cheyo Ántrax confronted Los Chapitos in support of his uncle, El Mayo Zambada Eliseo Imperial Castro, known as Cheyo Ántrax, was a key figure in the Sinaloa Cartel and the armed group Los Ántrax, loyal to Zambada Garcia. It has been 8 years since the last capture of Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, and the structure of the Sinaloa Cartel has changed drastically. Now, the organization is divided into 4 main factions, including those led by Los Chapitos and by Ismael El Mayo Zambada. According to the DEA, after Guzman's capture and extradition, his sons took control of the cartel, also known as the Pacific Cartel, and began a confrontation with Zambada, their father's main partner. This conflict has intensified over time, involving not only the leaders but also their criminal cells and armed groups in Sinaloa, Sonora, and Baja California. Journalistic investigations have revealed that the conflict has escalated, even affecting allies and family members. Among the allies of El Mayo Zambada was Eliseo Imperial Castro, aka Cheyo Ántrax, his nephew. Recently, Cheyo Ántrax made national headlines after being killed while driving in Culiacán, Sinaloa. Imperial Castro was ambushed and attacked by an armed group on the Mexico 15 International Highway near the Jardines del Humaya Cemetery. His body was found in a Chevrolet Colorado truck, along with weapons and ammunition. The death of Cheyo Ántrax drew attention due to his connection with Zambada, and because he was the last leader of Los Ántrax, the feared armed wing of the cartel that provided protection to El Mayo's family and carried out killings on his behalf. Although it is believed that Los Ántrax operated between 2008 and 2014, under the leadership of Cheyo Ántrax, the group remained active in the war against Los Chapitos. Journalist José Luis Montenegro suggested that the death of Cheyo Ántrax could be linked to the territorial expansion of El Chapo Guzman's sons, who have caused trouble for El Mayo Zambada's allies. Los Ántrax was formed in the early 2000s and became known for its brutality and military tactics. The organization began to decline with the capture of its leader, José Rodrigo Arechiga Gamboa, El Chino Ántrax. His extradition and conviction in 2014 dealt a significant blow to the group. El Chino Ántrax was released under custody, and shortly after, his body was found in Sinaloa, along with his sister and brother-in-law, in an incident believed to have involved Zambada Garcia or Los Chapitos. Cheyo Ántrax, who had a $5 million reward for his capture, was killed amid internal struggles within the cartel. It is suspected that the culprits might be Los Chapitos, the sons of Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, who were vying for control of the cartel after their father's capture. The fall of Cheyo Ántrax reflects the fragmentation and rivalries within the Sinaloa Cartel, intensifying violence and tensions in the areas under its control. At the time of his death, Los Ántrax was divided into 2 conflicting factions, led by El Changuito Ántrax and Cheyo Ántrax, competing with Los Chapitos for control of strategic territories in Culiacán. Cheyo Ántrax, a prominent leader of the Sinaloa Cartel, was betrayed and killed in territory controlled by the sons of Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. His loyalty to Ismael El Mayo Zambada was so strong that El Mayo sent a floral arrangement to his funeral, highlighting the complexity of internal relationships within the cartel and the severity with which betrayals are handled. Cheyo had a close friendship with El Cheyo Ántrax, as seen through their interactions on social media, and his close relationship with El Mayo placed him in a dangerous position within the cartel. Despite tensions, El Mayo has chosen to avoid open conflicts with Los Chapitos to maintain stability within the cartel. Cheyo's death may mark the end of Los Ántrax's influence within the cartel. Amid a manhunt by U.S. authorities and negotiations with the DEA to obtain leniency, Cheyo was likely eliminated after providing information about the cartel's operations. The investigation includes El Chapo's sons and their rivals, Los Ninis, who are fighting for control of the cartel and drug trafficking routes. The murder of Cheyo Ántrax could be related to the expansion of Los Chapitos' faction within the Sinaloa Cartel, according to journalist José Luis Montenegro. This event follows El Nini's extradition to the U.S. and reveals the growing internal tension in the cartel, especially between Los Chapitos, Los Damaso, and El Mayo Zambada. A hacked document showed a map of the areas of influence of various cartel groups in Culiacán, where El Nini operated under Iván Archivaldo Guzmán, in a zone neighboring that of Los Ántrax. El Nini, who led a group of hitmen, is currently imprisoned in New York after rejecting a plea deal. Meanwhile, Los Chapitos, who allegedly handed over El Nini, seek to expand their influence in Culiacán. Since El Chapo Guzmán's capture in 2016, the Sinaloa Cartel has faced serious internal conflicts, with Los Chapitos trying to consolidate their power, even facing off against former allies. If you're enjoying this video, be sure to subscribe for more similar content and give it a like to support us. Montenegro indicates that despite messages of apparent calm, such as the narco mantas that stated, "There is no war in Sinaloa," an internal struggle persists between the Chapitos and factions loyal to El Mayo Zambada, as well as external conflicts with the Cartel de Caborca and other groups. The elimination of Cheyo Ántrax is seen as a significant shift that could indicate an effort by the Chapitos to strengthen their position and dominate the cartel in the future. The recent death of Liceo Imperial Castro, known as Cheyo Ántrax, highlights the brutality and betrayals within the drug trade in Mexico. His death not only removes an important leader of the Sinaloa Cartel, but also intensifies internal rivalries and conflicts, especially with the Chapitos, led by Iván Alfredo and Joaquín Guzmán. This event can be seen as a tactic to consolidate the Chapitos' control over key areas like Culiacán by eliminating internal competitors. Violence and betrayal are common in this environment, where ambition and the desire for power outweigh loyalties and friendships, severely affecting local communities and generating a climate of fear and distrust. The death of Cheyo Ántrax reflects the extremes of ambition in the drug trade and underscores the ongoing tragedy and devastation that this world imposes. Gerardo Rivera Ibarra, popularly known as El Güerito, is a prominent figure within the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, CJNG, one of the most powerful and violent criminal organizations in Mexico. Rivera Ibarra has been sanctioned by the U.S. Department of the Treasury due to his involvement in drug trafficking activities, especially in the trafficking of fentanyl, an extremely dangerous and addictive synthetic drug that has contributed to the opioid crisis in the United States. As part of the U.S. government's efforts to combat fentanyl trafficking and other illicit substances, the Department of the Treasury has imposed sanctions on 2 members of the CJNG. In addition to Gerardo Rivera Ibarra, these sanctions also target Juan Carlos Bañuelos Ramirez, known as Pistones and/or Prada. Bañuelos Ramirez is linked to Audius Flores Silva, alias El Jardinero, who is one of the top leaders of the CJNG and a key figure in the cartel's power structure. Both Rivera Ibarra and Bañuelos Ramirez are accused of playing crucial roles within the criminal organization, leading criminal cells that operate with great sophistication and reach. The activities of Juan Carlos Bañuelos Ramirez include sending large quantities of narcotics and fentanyl to the United States. Bañuelos Ramirez oversees several clandestine laboratories in the state of Jalisco, where these synthetic drugs are produced using chemical precursors imported from various countries. In addition to his role in drug production and distribution, Bañuelos Ramirez is also involved in money laundering, a fundamental activity for financing and expanding the CJNG. To evade detection by authorities, the CJNG uses ingenious methods to conceal drugs, such as hiding them in industrial machinery that is shipped to the United States. The cartel's sophistication also extends to its ability to acquire weaponry and advanced technology, including high-quality drones used for various illicit operations. Gerardo Rivera Ibarra, known in the criminal world as El Güerito, is the leader of a criminal cell that specializes not only in fentanyl and narcotics trafficking to the United States, but also in the distribution of white powder. His role within the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, CJNG, places him in a key position within the criminal structure, leading the U.S. Department of the Treasury to impose sanctions against him. Reports from the Treasury Department reveal that Rivera Ibarra operates from Jalisco, Mexico, and maintains close ties with Audias Flores Silva, aka El Jardinero. Flores Silva is a high-ranking leader within the CJNG and has been officially designated under the Foreign Narcotics Kingpin Designation Act. This law allows the U.S. government to impose sanctions on leaders of international drug trafficking organizations in order to disrupt their operations and limit their financial capabilities. El Jardinero, considered one of the possible successors to Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, also known as El Mencho, the current leader of the CJNG, plays a crucial role in the organization. Born in Michoacán in November 1980, Flores Silva is also known by other aliases such as Comandante, El Bravo II, Audi, and Mata Jefes. His influence and authority within the cartel are evident in his responsibilities. Flores Silva oversees a network of clandestine laboratories that produce narcotics and is also involved in large-scale white powder distribution. His operation spans various regions of Mexico, including Jalisco, Michoacán, Nayarit, Zacatecas, and Guerrero. In these states, Flores Silva manages the production and distribution of these substances, ensuring they reach various markets in the United States. The drugs produced and trafficked by Flores Silva's network are distributed across multiple U.S. states, including California, Texas, Virginia, Georgia, Illinois, and Washington. This extensive distribution network allows the CJNG to maintain a significant presence in the U.S. drug market, contributing to the opioid crisis and other addictions. Although both Gerardo Rivera Ibarra, known as El Güerito, and Audias Flores Silva, aka El Jardinero, operate in Jalisco, the main stronghold of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, CJNG. U.S. authorities have not provided specific details on how they are related to each other. What is known is that Rivera Ibarra is linked to a company called Fornley Lab SADCV, also known as Carmani Lab. This company is located in Naucalpan de Juarez, in the state of Mexico. Details about the role of this company in drug trafficking operations are not entirely clear, but its connection to Rivera Ibarra suggests possible involvement in activities related to drug production or distribution. In stark contrast to the situation surrounding El Güerito, the United States government has taken a firm stance regarding the capture of El Jardinero, also known as Flores Silva. Authorities have established a substantial reward of up to $5 million for any information that leads to his arrest. This considerable sum highlights the seriousness of the threat he poses and the urgency with which law enforcement agencies are pursuing him. Flores Silva's criminal history is extensive and deeply intertwined with drug trafficking. Prior to his current troubles, he spent 5 years behind bars in Mexico due to his connections within the drug trade. His time in prison, however, did little to deter his illicit activities. After his release, he resumed his operations, continuing to build a reputation as a significant player in the drug trafficking world. In 2016, Silva was arrested once again in Nayarit, Mexico, underscoring the persistent nature of his criminal endeavors. His repeated encounters with law enforcement illustrate a pattern of behavior that poses a grave risk not only to society, but also to the ongoing battle against drug-related crime in both Mexico and the United States. After spending 3 years in Puente Grande prison, Flores Silva finally tasted the bittersweet freedom he had long awaited. However, his liberation was short-lived. Almost immediately, new charges were leveled against him by the District of Columbia in the United States, reigniting his turbulent past. The accusations against Silva are serious. He is charged with conspiracy to distribute white powder, likely a reference to cocaine or another illicit substance, and cannabis. Additionally, he faces charges of possessing firearms, raising alarms about his potential for violence, and the extent of his criminal network. These charges paint a grim picture of Silva's activities, indicating that he is not only a drug dealer, but also a significant threat to public safety in both the United States and Mexico. The U.S. authorities have responded to the threat posed by Silva with urgency. A substantial reward has been offered for information leading to his capture, underscoring the importance of bringing him back into custody. His apprehension is crucial, not just to dismantle his drug trafficking operations, but also to protect communities from the pervasive violence and corruption that accompany such activities. The clock is ticking as law enforcement agencies intensify their efforts to locate Silva, hoping to put an end to his reign of terror once and for all. If you made it this far and enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell to receive alerts for future videos on YouTube. Additionally, if you have any questions, feel free to write them in the comments.